This month's consciousness talk is called Unlocking Full Human Potential. And what I'd like to do is start off with doing a loose interpretation or loose definition of what I would consider full human potential. What does full human potential mean? And let me start off with a footnote, so to speak, and or one of those like disclaimers. When I am talking about unlocking full human potential, I would like to advise you, the listener, to not only apply this to yourself, but to apply it as well to the paradigm of the planet and to the activists, not only to apply it to the paradigm of the planet, but apply it to yourself. I am going to try to speak in a way that this is shared between looking at the world on a global level and the human paradigm and the human potential of the planet, as well as the individual. But the reality of it is I am going to be speaking to the individual. I would just like you to take a moment and kind of make it a parallel with the human potential of the planet as well. So without further ado, let's talk about what human potential is. It is very, very obvious to me, and I'm sure it's very, very obvious to you, that everything that we have ever been taught from school, through media, through politics, through the powers that be, you can call it the Illuminati, the New World Order, you can call it whatever you like, but the reality of it is that we have what is called, what I would like to call a potential virus, and I mean potential virus in the sense that it is a virus that stops our potential ability, what we are potentially able to do as individuals and as a planet. From the beginning of our lives, we have always been told it is just the way it is, or you are just not smart enough, or you have the potential. To me, I find that to be very limiting, and we've been told over and over again, you can't do this. Please sit down. Sit down and shut up. One of my favorite videos back in the day. I will not sit down. I will not shut up. Constantly being told that this is just the way it is, and we have to accept it. And by being told that throughout our lives, and by being told that throughout our schooling, whether it be intentionally or unintentionally, we begin to develop a belief system in how the world is and how we are and who we are. And unfortunately, I find that to be, again, very limiting. It is an obstacle that we are going to hopefully break throughout this talk this afternoon. We must be aware that anything is possible, and I hope to be helping you to get to that place where anything is possible, not only in the planet and not only within your own life. But the idea of human potential, I mentioned just now some of the things that limit it. We can look at, let me just jump right in here and say, there is a lot of stuff that is being worked against us to get to that human potential. Everything from Wi-Fi signals to satellite signals to electromagnetic fields, electricity grids all around us, a poor diet, ingredients in our food system, GMOs, chemtrails, etc., 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 etc. That's the environmental factors, but please also remember the emotional and the mental factors of that which we have been told that we have now clung on to as beliefs. Beliefs are lies, and I'm going to talk more about how beliefs are lies in a little while. But we have to move beyond our beliefs and move beyond the idea that we are limited, I saw a very interesting video before I started this broadcast, and I was doing a little research, and I'm like, you know what, let me find a cute analogy, or let me find a good allegory to talk about or something like that. And it is exactly what this guy was talking about. And forgive me, I forgot what the gentleman's name was. I was just, it caught my eye. How to train a flea. Does anyone know how to train a flea? It's very interesting how this works. And again, think about it both ways, as a planet and as an individual. Did you know that fleas can jump 100 times their height? I mean, they jump really high. I mean, if anyone's had a flea jump on them, I mean, they land on your neck sometimes. I don't know if you've ever had a flea jump on you, but think about the behavior of fleas. Now, how do you train fleas? Flea trainers put them in a jar. And the flea will jump, and they'll hit the top of the jar. They'll jump, they'll jump, they'll jump, until eventually they don't jump any higher than the lid of the jar. That's exactly what's been happening to you. That's exactly what's been happening to humanity. That's exactly what we've been allowing ourselves to create as belief of what we have, what is our potential. I can only jump so high because I have been told over and over and over again that this is where I am. This is how far I can go. Our planet, the people of the planet, have only jumped so high because we're constantly told, oh, if and actually, I'm going to make this a little bit personal because I get a little aggravated when I hear some of these right-wing conspiracy folks saying, oh, well, if you do an uprising, that's what they want. They want an excuse to shoot you. So what do? It's a lid. We put a lid on it. We put a lid on it because we're being trained to put a lid on it. We are no longer the free flea jumping 100 times our height. Why? Why? Because we're constantly being told. And all of us, that anyone who tells you it's not possible is guilty of this. You are guilty of this. You yourself who believe these beliefs, who believe that you cannot do it, who believe you cannot jump 100 times your height, who believe that humanity cannot leap 100 times its height. It's your own fault. It's your own fault, but we're going to change that. We're going to change that today, hopefully. No, we are going to change that. I intend we are going to change that belief today. So what is human potential? Human potential is the ability to believe that you can do anything. Anything is possible. The ability to believe that humanity as a whole, as a planet, can do anything. Nothing is holding back this planet from reaching its full potential, except the belief that we cannot reach our full potential. That is what human potential is. That is what unlocking full human potential is, and we're going to do it. We've seen it happening over the last several decades. We've seen it happening even in the biggest places, the smallest places, in places like Revolution Radio, in places like the internet, in places like Egypt. I mean, we're seeing things change, and we're also seeing it within the individual. You're seeing yourself change, and we can't deny that. You can't deny that. You are changing. You are now becoming more aware of what's happening in the world around you. You are now becoming more aware of your possibilities. And as you're becoming more and more aware of your own possibilities, you're still clinging to some old stories and some old belief systems. Again, we're going to change some of that today. We are going to change some of that today. So, is unlocking full human potential possible? Only if you accept that it is. Only if you accept that it is. Is unlocking full human potential possible as a planet? Only if the planet begins to believe that it is. And you know what? We are. You are. I am. I know that we can unlock this full human potential. I know that we have the ability to do this. If you would have seen me 10 years ago, just 10 years ago, now here I am, a radio host, an author, the owner and the director of a global illumination movement, have over 300,000 followers on Facebook, la-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. I think we're about to hit 30 million viewers on YouTube. 10 years ago, I was still living in the old paradigm. 10 years ago, I was still living from paycheck to paycheck to paycheck. 10 years ago, I was still abusing drugs, abusing alcohol, abusing myself, eating garbage, living out of 7-Elevens because I was too lazy to cook. because I was probably too hungover. And here now, 10 years later, 10 years later, I'm healthier, I'm happier, I'm clearer, I'm an author, I'm a speaker, I'm a radio host. And 10 years ago, I was suicidal. So can things change? You have got to allow things to change. You have got to make the choice to allow things to change. Remember, there is full potential. When you have given up, might be that moment when you finally throw your hands up in the air and say, I'm getting the hell out of my own way. Get out of your own way. Begin to listen to your inner dialogue, and we're going to talk about that in just a little while. Getting out of your own way. I want to talk a little bit. We only have a few more minutes in this particular segment, but I want to talk about unlocking our brain capacity. And I've spoken about this in the past. We've had a wonderful series with Miriam Delicato talking about, I forgot what it's called, unlocking brain potential or something to that effect. But the idea that we need to unlock our full brain capacity is something that's very realistic. We have been told over and over again, you are only using 10% of your brain. You are only using 10% of your brain function. I remember as a kid saying, wow, you know, I had a teacher, let me just share this. I had a teacher that said, if you could unlock your full brain capacity, you could move mountains with your mind. That's how powerful human beings are. Literally. Using telekinesis or psychokinetics or whatever the discipline is, to be able to look at a mountain and move it, because that's how powerful human brains are. Now you have to ask yourself, why do we only use 10% of our brain? Is it physiological? Is it evolutionary? Is it self-induced? Is it programmed into us? But one of the first steps that we must allow is the ability for us to unlock our full brain capacity. Many of us talk about the left brain and the right brain. Oh, I'm more left brain. I'm more right brain. Well, that's not something to be proud of. Again, that's a belief that we've created. We're creating this belief that, oh, I'm more left brain, so I'm more creative. I'm more intuitive. I used to do it myself. Oh, I'm a psychic. I'm an intuitive. I'm very left brain. Or I'm very right brain, or I'm more linear logical, so I'm more left brain, I'm more right brain. We need to really take the opportunity to allow both hemispheres of the brain to work as a whole. Imagine if we're only using 10% of our brain capacity, how much of that 10% is being used on one hemisphere or the other? Let's get rid of the belief of, I'm only using half my brain. Do you want to be known as someone who uses only half their brain? I'm one of these people, and trust me, I am just now learning this myself. I really cannot speak as an expert of this, and the only sense that I can is that I have experienced it, and I can share my experience with you, is that I have always been very proud of my intuitive, creative side. I've been really bad at linear, logical, deduction, reasoning, all that stuff. I've been always very emotional until maybe 2006, 2007. I finally started realizing to put the pictures together, put everything together into a bigger picture. Use the whole picture. Don't use just a piece of the picture. If one side of your brain is saying, wow, here's a great example, okay? And I hope that this doesn't offend anybody, but the reality of it is I saw something today which actually offended my I don't know, my right brain, I forgot which one's which, my linear logical self, where I saw this picture of Bush and Putin, and they're wearing these robes, and, you know, they're supposed to be Masonic symbols on the robes. And there's this person from this website posting a picture of the official seal of the Freemasons and saying that's what it is. That's what these little images are on the robes. And so my passion, my emotion is like, yeah, they are just all criminals. They are all just working together. They are all related to each other. But then I looked a little bit deeper and I blew the picture up a little bit. You know, you go into the the Windows media thing in your computer, and you can make the picture bigger. And what the person, the author of the article, was telling me that picture was nothing like it. And it only took 2 seconds for me to say, that is not the same picture. I mean, yeah, it does look a little bit like the compass and the square, but there's not that triangle at the top, and there's not this and that. So this guy is saying, as a fact, that this is the symbol that's on these robes. And the emotion part of me wants to say, yes, they're all evil. They all work together. But then the discerning side, the linear, logical thinking side says, you know what? I better investigate this, because I have been duped so many times by these right-wing conspiracy websites that I better research this myself. And I blew up the picture, and there it was. Completely different pictures. Completely. Now, this is going viral today on Facebook, so you can probably just log on to your Facebook page and take a look at it. And it's from a very well-known conspiracy site. And and again, I'm all about conspiracy. I'm all about showing the connections of the elites and all that. But you know what? Sometimes there's a lot of this info out there, and we must use discernment, and that's what this is all coming down to. If we are going to unlock our full brain capacity, we cannot accept information as it is presented to us. We must delve deeper into not only the motivation of the information or the emotion of the information, because yes, of course we're going to feel an emotional reaction to any information, whether it be CNN or Alex Jones or Time Magazine or Rolling Stone Magazine. Of course you're going to have an emotional reaction. But to unlock your full brain capacity, you must use both sides of your brain, your linear logical and your emotional intuitive. And that means taking it a step further, using discernment, and saying, you know what, let me just check this. Let me Google it. Let me, I don't know, look in my Encyclopedia Britannica. Or better yet, let me try to contact the people who are saying that this is real. And really go beyond emotional reaction. And I think that's a very important part of unlocking full brain capacity. Unlocking full brain capacity means not being reactive. Unlocking full brain capacity means being aware of your emotions, acting on those, but also being able to be proactive, not be affected by the external information that is being brought into you, and looking at it with a clear head, looking at it with a greater consciousness than that which you have been living under your whole life, which we have been programmed to be, which we have been allowing ourselves to be in the state of non-full potential. Every time we accept something as we see it, we are that flea jumping up to the lid. So if it offends anybody when I say, oh, you know what, that conspiracy article is a joke, if that offends you, you're hitting the lid. And I would actually ask you to ask yourself, is it offensive because it's offending one of your beliefs, and the belief that you are not able to think clearly, and the belief that you must digest information from somebody else who might be a better authority than you? Or are you your ultimate authority? We talk about being sovereign. We talk about being mentally, emotionally, psychically, physically sovereign. Be that person. Jump past the lid. Live to your full potential. Think about it for yourself. Do not accept everything that is being given to you. We have an opportunity right now in our lives, not only during this broadcast, but also in this time on our planet, that we have so much information coming to us, that we have the ability to do so much more with it. You just, and I've got to say, and I don't mean to be negative here. Actually, yes, I do. When people say to me, what does that mean? Like, I put a word out, maybe it has 3 or 4 syllables. They don't know what it means. They have to ask me, what does it mean? Or, where did that come from? I feel like I want to respond and react, but I don't. But I'll react right now in a proactive manner saying, what's the problem? You don't know how to Google? Really? I need to do it for you? You want me to think for you? Is that what you're doing? You're putting your thinking into my hands. Do you know how offensive that is for somebody like myself, who's an activist and a consciousness teacher? For people to actually ask me to think for them? What should I do? You should connect with your higher self, follow your intuition, follow your gut. Well, how do I do that? Well, you just take a few deep breaths, meditate, and contemplate on the situation. Well, I don't have time to meditate. Well, then you're SOL, sorry. What does that word mean? Look it up on Google. I don't want to look it up on Google. What does it mean? Well, then you know what? You're SOL. It's very, very offensive to someone who is trying to teach consciousness. It's trying to teach personal sovereignty, spiritual sovereignty, political sovereignty, physical sovereignty, to be asked to think for you. All of the work, every show here, every book I've written, every video I've done has always been to give you keys to think for yourself, to be a sovereign being spiritually and physically. Think for yourself. There is no reason to give anybody the power to think for you, whether it be the media, whether it be alternative media, whether it be Revolution Radio, whether it be Bernard Alvarez. Don't let people think for you.